Hello and welcome to Braptalk. This is a podcast about motorcycles, life, the universe, and everything. I am your host. I'm your shost. See, we're professionals around here. So I'm your shost, Shahin Alvandi. And I have next to me not our dear friend Quentin Wilson. Quentin Wilson is off tonight. And
I'm taking his place.
You're taking his place and you're doing a good job of it. You look very handsome and very you belong here. And it makes me feel like,
Thank you very much. We brought a camera, so we got to
do
look
something.
good.
So there's a camera.
Yeah.
Some of you are going to get to see our faces while we do this and see how fucking awkward we are because now I don't know what to do with them, with these hands. Where do these go?
Exactly.
Do I hold stuff?
We're going to anchorman the whole thing.
Do I just hold on to my whiskey the whole time on this thing?
Yep.
So we've got the very handsome Jacob.
How you doing?
Jacob, I met you only like about a month or so ago at the shop. We were doing a weird little swap meet / motorcycle show / sale / just engagement. And that's what we do as a motorcycle dealership. We try to find fun, weird ways to pump up engagement with our client base. And sometimes that means doing something that we're not typically known to do. Like a swap meet isn't really a great thing for a motorcycle shop that's trying to sell stuff inside their doors. Yep. So for us, it's like, nah, fuck it. Let's have some fun with it. Let's bring people out here. Let's, make these goofy little like trophies and invite people to come show off their bikes. And dude, you showed up with all like the handsomest bike I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you very much.
So Jacob shows up with like his beautiful now fiance.
Yes.
And as soon as you did it, everybody, and there was like, I love motorcycle swap meets or just swap meets in general. It brings like a certain breed of people out. And it's usually like, as we joke around, people of a certain age show up.
For sure.
And the people of a certain age were all about your bike.
Look, that certain age loves 70s super bikes. They all have the stories of when they owned because it's a 1975 Honda CB750.
Oh God, it's so pretty.
And many people of the older age owned one, wanted one, had posters of it, and I love it. I love hearing those stories about the bike. I mean, it's
Why
awesome.
that bike?
Why that bike? Because I'm basic.
I like it.
Because
and that's the show, y'all. It's over.
Exactly. Honestly, when I was looking at motorcycles, I wanted to buy my first bike. That was my first one, actually. And I knew I wanted a narrow bike because I was in California and I had been bicycling, pedal biking around through stop traffic, lane splitting, all that stuff. And I was like, I know I want to get a motorcycle, but I cannot get on something that feels like I'm sitting on top of a very wide missile. And so I knew I'd either get a 300cc modern fairing bike, a CBR 300 or something like that.
Okay.
Or I would get an older 500 to 700cc vintage bike.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as saying bike XIF and all the other online platforms that showed portfolios of motorcycles.
And your bike belongs on XF.
Thank you. I got to take photos. I
know those people, man. I kind of want to send that to our friends that listen. They listen to this.
Yeah, I have. Well, then, hello. I love you guys. I have so many videos of myself and of the motorcycle. I have so few stills, so I feel like I have to get out there, take some actual photos, and have something to submit.
It's funny. You're making me think. So my previous social media and marketing manager at the shop was a still shot professional. It's his thing. He's really good at it, and we had to sort of start focusing on video and, being on camera, and I had to get comfortable to be in front of a camera, and he had to get comfortable with using, non-still shots and kind of like editing it afterwards. And, I love him to death. He's now in Los Angeles and living a great life doing that over there. And so he kind of built his portfolio with us, and then he moved on to greater things. And so now the current person that we have, Ryan, who's really great at what he does, he's the opposite. He's a video guy. He comes from the car side. He's really comfortable doing video stuff. And I'm like, I want some still shots of this and that and the other. And you just see his face twitch a little bit. He's like, damn it.
Yeah, I'm running it in auto.
Fuck.
Exactly. Full auto mode.
Can we just get one of those point and shoots? I don't need a DSLR. I don't know. Just click. Oh, it's nice. We'll put that up. So he's been trying to prove himself. And he's like taking these artistic shots. And I'm like, that's nice. It's got some attitude. I like it. It's moody. So I get it, man. I get it when you get comfortable behind doing one sort of medium and having to introduce a whole new spectrum of work to you. So you've picked yourself up a classic.
Yep.
You've decided to make it. I've just barely gotten to know you, and your motorcycle speaks volumes about who you are. To say that you are a perfectionist, I feel like is a little bit of an understatement about you, because the thing
Okay.
showed up and I remember I was having a conversation and you pulled up and instantly my head kind of whipped over and I'm looking at the thing and I'm like, this is either like a Van Gogh, which is good from afar, or he's really done some work to it. And we're, I've been in the industry for 20 years and we go to shows and we get to see all kinds of stuff. We go to the hand built and we go to the one show and everything else. And there's some stuff that from 10, 15 feet away is
highway show
perfect,
car.
just beautiful,
Looks good,
right?
50 miles an hour from half a mile away.
It's like hot girl buff. It's just strong, but it doesn't do shit. And so that's what I call my best friend. He's hot girl strong. And so I came up to it at one point and nobody was there. You weren't standing by it. I'm just kind of looking at it. It's like, dude, somebody paid an awful lot of attention to the details. And it's like, it looks, you can tell it's custom, but it also looks like factory fresh.
Perfect.
And that's what I love.
That's
So,
what we're going for.
that speaks volumes to me because it's not like someone that just goes, I want it to be pretty. Like pretty is an attainable thing.
Yeah.
And you can kind of polish a turd up and make it as pretty as you can. This is no turd. This looks like something that you can ride all the time. It looks like you ride it all the time.
I do,
So
yeah.
it somehow fills this weird space between like show bike and riding bike.
Yeah, I'm never sure. A lot of that is out of necessity. It's my favorite bike, so I daily it or close to,
Right.
And I'll say that I feel like it would have been easier for me to have something visually striking if I had gone crazy with it. If I had gone, okay, let's chop off the seat, let's remove
Talking
the
about
fender.
the pink bike in the basement?
Exactly. Yeah, you're going to get attention, no matter what. That I'm never sure when I show up to shows or bike meets what anyone's going to think.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a pessimist, but I don't think I created the greatest thing in the world. I've seen it for hundreds of thousands of hours.
Yeah, you know it intimately.
And so I've been staring at it. So I'm like, let's just show up and kind of see what happens. But yeah, the goal was to build a bike that if you didn't know motorcycles, you would look at it and just think it's stock.
Yeah.
That you would just be like, oh, that's just a motorcycle. It's not like, oh, well, clearly there's this crazy headlight and there's no seat on it and the rear tire is stretched out a mile. and so I kind of wanted something that was just the resto mod of all resto mods. I will say I am accidentally a perfectionist. It was not a goal to build the perfect bike. When I had got it, I was in San Francisco for a year with a bicycle, biking around and all that stuff, and it was fun. But I was like, I gotta get an engine under me. Like this is too much work. I want to go further. So I picked up the bike, and nothing to start the bike worked. You had to turn up the idle speed screw on the carburetors to then kick it over about half the time. Usually you're just gonna be pushing it through the parking lot and dumping the clutch. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna rebuild the engine. That's what I wanted to do. And I got it home after a year of using it and took it apart and everything, got into the engine. And I just got obsessed with the engine where, you know how the forums go. You're like, oh, well, if you're going to do
boy.
this, you might as well do this.
God.
If you're going to do this, you might as well do
the
this.
rabbit holes.
Yeah. Fell into a year-long rabbit hole of building that engine and decided, you know what? I'm going to try to set the horsepower record for the highest horsepower stock compression, stock displacement CB750.
Okay.
And I don't know if I have it or not. I've got to take it to a dyno at some point.
So what's the previous record?
Unknown. I asked the forum and they got mad at me. That's how that happened.
What are you, a monster? What do you mean high horsepower? This is a classic, sir. Have some respect.
Everyone wanted me to do a big bore because it's got forged rods, balanced crank, big, or semi-big megacycle, 125 NR cam, and headwork and all this crazy stuff. And then it's got regular 749 cc pistons sitting in it with stock compression. And everyone was like,
magical about that though.
I know. Well, I just had this dream of like racing it and people being like, oh, well, it's a big.
Yeah. It's not an 851. It's a 750.
Anytime I just wanted no excuses that if I built a high horsepower engine, you couldn't just go, oh, well, it's a big bore, of course.
Right.
I wanted to build an engine that had more horsepower because of the perfection in its build that you couldn't take it away from me. Because you could take a crap engine, slap in a 836 high compression, and it'll last X amount of miles and do great horsepower numbers.
Right, of course.
But I kind of wanted to be able to cross my arms and say, nope, it's at 749.
I think if your intention was to build a race bike that you're going to constantly, race and hot rod around, cool. You could do that.
Yeah,
You can rebuild it every so many cycles and have a bike that you're not necessarily going to rely on to ride as your favorite motorcycle all the time.
Yep.
That's a thing we're all pretty familiar with. And so that's what I love about your bike, because when you fired it up, it just purrs. It's not a crazy like cammed, engine that doesn't want to idle. I have a Ducati 999 that's built.
Yeah.
That bike stock put like 120 something horses down.
Okay.
Mine was owned by a lovely company that's now no longer owned by our friends, Speedy Moto, and they built it. And the thing put down, like they have dyno sheets, 146 horsepower at the rear end. So at the wheel, and that's just a murderous, bloody, angry twin with no traction control, no ABS. It's like, best of luck to you. You know what it doesn't like doing? Idling. It doesn't like it. It's not its happy place. It's designed to be 100% throttle. And then anything less than that, you're just kind of like, yeah, it's because you're not, it's a race bike.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I love a dumb engine. I love a dumb motorcycle, like a rotary engine that just is pissed off and brutal and just hates idling. Oh my God, it's so cool.
Give me that wankle.
Yeah, exactly. But I just wanted some, and some people will know, I'm saying 749 cc's. The stock displacement of the 750 was 736, but it has to get at least like a 0.5 mil overbore so that you can make the cylinders circular, because they've kind of got this egg-like shape to them after the years and years of use. And so you have to bore them out a little just to straighten them back out. I was so close that my machinist, shout out Baisley High Performance, needed me to go up to a 7.5 or 0.75 mil overbore, but I knew that'd break me past 750. And so we had to swap out a sleeve, because one sleeve wouldn't make it. It needed more bore than that.
The dedication to that is something to me.
So I refused, and we got a new sleeve, swapped it in, and bored it out to only 700, I think it's like 748 and a half or something like that. But to finish the story, I built the engine and did it over a year. That is why the rest of the bike looks the way it does, is because it put me in a spot where I was going, I just wanted to rebuild the engine. But then it's sitting on the workbench, painted and polished and blueprinted. And if you give a shit about the word blueprinted an engine, I think that word's kind of fake. But like, blueprinting an engine just means making an engine.
It's like a standard set of words to make you believe it's a built engine.
Yeah, it's balanced and blueprinted.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, so you made it right. Like, of course it's blueprinted. Anyways, that's a separate rant. But I was sitting there and I go, well, I can't put this into a piece of crap bike. And so I was like, well, I'll powder coat the frame. Oh, it looks so good now.
Right.
I can't just put some crappy tank on it.
God,
I can't just do some seat. So that was the rest of the
build.
build.
And the rabbit hole continues.
I was stuck, and it was a full 3-year build. But man, I mean, it actually is rattle can painted.
Is it really?
It is, yeah.
But did you sit there and like sand that rattle can? Because it's shiny. It's like a deep, beautiful, shiny color.
The tank was a golf ball. It was covered in dents. So it's got a ton of Bondo on it. Very thin layers, nothing crazy, but it's got a full skim coat on it. Here's the trick if you want to use spray cans and paint your bike. It's like what's the saying? A grinder and paint makes me the welder I ain't. If you just go thick on the clear coat, you can always wet sand back the orange peel.
Right.
And so that's what I did. Because I'm cheating here by saying spray paint. It was professional grade paint that I begged Wesco Paint Supply in Hillsborough to put in rattle cans. And they hated doing it every time because it's so expensive. They were like, please, can you please buy an air compressor?
Just for the love of God, do the right thing.
And I was like, I don't have room for an air compressor. I'm just gonna buy the paint, put it in paint cans. They hated doing it, but I appreciate it. And then got 2K clear coat, the classic Spray Max 2K clear. So it's fuel resistant and everything. It's just as good as the pro stuff, or at least pretty close to it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was covered in orange peel. Like, of course, I did it in my garage. Like, it's gonna have.
Yeah, it's not a look. Perfect like hermetically sealed, No,
it came out looking like a base model Ford. Like, it was crazy. But you put enough on it, you sand it all back, you polish it, and now it's perfect.
Yeah.
Now it looks fantastic.
And it is perfect.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, okay, give us a background, like a quick background of who are you?
My name is Jacob Baldry. I'm an industrial designer. I went to a school in San Francisco called the California College of the Arts. I know that school. San Francisco, yep. I considered myself an industrial designer before and after school, but that is where I got my degree and was able to get jobs based off of actually having it on the
papers. Gotta make money to buy these damn toys.
Exactly. And now I have found myself in a content creation space. I'm what some would call a content creator. I didn't
know this about you, and so then you messaged me on Instagram, and I was like, oh yeah, Jacob. Oh, that's the nice guy of the cool looking CB.
Yep.
Wait, what do you mean you have almost 25,000 followers on Instagram? So instantly in my head, I'm like, I've never spent, like my Instagram account, all my friends make fun of me. Like my wife also makes fun of me for this. I have a personal Instagram account that I created a long time ago.
Yep.
And it's just like my wife and I, it's our lives. It's mostly like food, the dogs, just bullshit around our lives. It's got 2,000 followers. I don't even know who those, why are you guys
that's
following?
Good for a personal
I don't even know
account.
who these people are. And then one day, 11, 12 years ago, I was like, getting really, really heavy. I've been in the motorcycle industry for 20 years now. So I was like, I'm just going to create like an account that's sort of, I think it's kind of catchy. And so I went online and I found that the URL, the domain brapping.com was available.
Okay.
And I bought it for, I don't know, $10.
That's impressive.
And then I renewed it.
The word brap has been around for a little while.
And I couldn't believe it was available. So it was BRAAPING, brapping.com.
Okay.
So I was like, cool, I'll buy it. So then I went on Instagram. I was like, ooh, I'm going to create an Instagram account for this. And I'm going to maybe one day do something. I'm going to be one of these people who's going to have a cool motorcycle content website. Yep. I was busy working. So I was like, well, at least let me buy it and then I'll get to do something with it. So I went on Instagram, and brapping was the person who had it then still has it. I don't think they've made a single post in I don't know how long. They just are sitting on it.
So did you sell it?
No, so it just wasn't available then. Brapping Brapping on Instagram was not available.
Okay.
Somebody had it already and they weren't doing anything with it, and they currently still aren't.
Classic.
So then I became Moto Brapping. I was like, that's the closest thing to it. And then I just started, every time I take a picture of a motorcycle or do something motorcycle related, or if I had a feeling about something, I just started doing the thing. Long story short, that's got like 40 something hundred followers in it.
4,000. What am I doing?
4,000 and change.
Okay, got it.
No, not 1,000. No, 40,000. 4,000
I was
and
working
change.
around 4,000.
Yeah, 4,000.
Okay,
See,
I like that.
That's my math right there. 4,000. So like it's like 4,600 people or something like that, and it's just been like through 20 years of being in the industry and just people I meet, and they're like, "Oh, are you on Instagram?" Oh, yeah, sure, it's right here, and it's just like motorcycle related. So now I have my personal, and then I have a motorcycle, and then we created this podcast, and then it has an Instagram account that's also on my phone, and then I have a dealership that I run. It has an Instagram that's on my phone, and our used bike department, which also has a dude.
Yeah.
How many Instagram accounts does one person need?
So that's the split. It's funny. I was thinking about that this week, where I never split my accounts. I had my personal account. That's just my government name.
Right.
And just turned it into the motorcycle account. And there's pros and cons to that, because the cons are that I have to be very okay with people who've known me for a long time. They have to be okay with me acting like a content creator,
right,
before even having any followers. And I still feel like an imposter at this point. Like I said, we've got like 20 something on Instagram and 60 something, or maybe close to 70 something on TikTok. I still feel like an imposter doing it. But at this point, I'm just like, I just don't care. That's what took
full commit.
That's what took Instagram so long, is I built my TikTok page, and I was like, well, if people find me, they find me, but I'm just gonna start building it on this.
Right.
And I really didn't like putting it on Instagram. And
why?
Like your family seeing it, friends from high school, whatever. It's just a little.
It's got a more personal reach to it.
I feel too seen, which
which is the purpose of content creation, is to be seen.
It is, but that's the thing. I don't have, and this is maybe a pro. I like it now. I'm glad I do, but I don't have a character name. Like, it's not.
Yeah, this is not a pseudonym. This is you. This is Jacob Baldry doing Jacob Baldry shit.
It is my full government name.
Yep.
And it's my face everywhere. I don't do the helmet videos and stuff, which, like, power to people who want to wear a helmet for videos.
Totally.
No issues. But it just means that I'm very Googleable at that point with my name and everything.
I understand.
And so that took a minute to be like, okay, coworkers, other friends, family seeing it. So it was really only maybe 4 to 6 months ago I started actually using Instagram like TikTok.
Oh, wow.
And at this point, I still probably post probably 4 to 5 times more on TikTok. Like, TikTok nearly gets daily. Instagram, I'm a little bit more sensitive with content.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So I'm super curious about content creators. I have several friends who are content creators, and they're successful at it. My friend Jesse is One Lost Moto, and my friend Aya is ILOL what, and she's got a gazillion followers. And my friend Anna, and I'm just name dropping people.
No,
but these are all people that do, sort of like. It feels like they kind of organically got into it, and they have a look and they have a story, and they kind of stick to that, and there is a continuity in what it is they do. But like you said, they kind of commit to doing just that thing all the time. And, as anything goes in life, if you want to be perfect at it, practice 10,000 hours of it, and, you'll hopefully get good at it. So I'm always super intrigued to see someone that, you know, is doing what you do and is, you know, working to create a brand for themselves, a name for themselves, a recognition for what it is they do. And so after I met you and after you messaged me and I saw how many followers you had, I'm like, I'm going to look at this. I'm kind of curious. And your videos are super approachable. Like you, and it's one of my favorite things that I like. I watch a lot of cooking videos, and it's all content producers that make videos. Like I don't go on, you know, on I don't know, Food Network. I just go on YouTube and find people that I like. So like, the more approachable, the more human, the more real you are. It feels like you're a friend that someone sees through a screen, and they make you know, they make a connection with, an emotional connection.
Yeah, I love that people know my name,
and that's
I'm glad I don't have a character name now. Like,
right.
It's so much better.
And so that's sort of kind of the cool thing that you do, is that you are very, very you're professional, but it's like you're professional without it being fake. You are approachable without it being conceited. You are answering questions without feeling like you are like judging anybody. And it's neat to see, like one of my favorite ones you did is how to create a, you know, motorcycle vlogger helmet setup.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And not every, but a lot of kids that we meet in our shop, you know, have their GoPro or their Insta360 on all the time. And they have these aspirations and they're like, oh, make sure you follow me on Instagram. And it's like, well, you got 300 followers and you have 4,000 posts. So you're clearly not doing something right.
That's a brutal ratio.
It's
4,000,
right.
Yeah.
And so we see a lot of that. There's a lot more, failure is a harsh word. There's a lot more not successul.
It's the entertainment industry.
It is.
It's a statistic. It's not personal.
And so for me, when I kind of started getting lost in the you know, rabbit hole of your Instagram feed, because I don't have TikTok. So I had it and I realized it was just a time suck and I had to get away from it. And so for me, for my business, Instagram makes a lot of sense. And then, you know, Ryan takes care of our TikTok and it's slowly growing. And so, you know, I was like, oh, this is so cool, because you've got a magic formula, I think. And I don't know if it was done kind of like your motorcycle. And like I said, your motorcycle said a lot about you.
I'm curious what my formula is.
So here's the thing.
Was not
when I looked at your motorcycle, it proved to me that you are someone that cares about the details. So when I looked at your Instagram and I saw that you have like a specific approach, to me, your quote unquote formula is that you're educational and you're approachable. So approachable education is really, really neat, because most of us are curious about something or another, right? And so if I, from my curiosity level, look at you and go, okay, he's got 24,500 followers or 25,000 followers. There are obviously people with way more than that, but you are, and this is not meant as an insult, you are just Jacob, right?
Yeah.
And you are doing a niche thing within a niche industry. Like you are a piece of a piece of a piece of a pie. And somehow 25,000 people were like, that's interesting. I want to be a part of this regularly. So I'm going to follow this guy and then I'm going to engage with him. And so, you know, as someone that runs a dealership, we kind of look at that and go, okay, so that's part of marketing. That's not all of marketing. That's part of marketing for us. Instagram and Facebook. Like I think for Moto Corsa, we're at 64,000 followers on Instagram and like 80 something thousand on Facebook. And it's interesting because Meta, that owns both of those, really throttles you down a lot when you get to that level.
Oh, really?
Where like we post, I remember like 9 years ago, we would make like a video post and it would get like 20,000 plays instantly. Like it would get lots of likes, gets a lot of engagements. And now we'll put up like a picture or a video. And if we're lucky, we get like 12,000 plays out of 64,000 followers.
Meta has gamified it and not in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is how I got onto TikTok, because talking about formulas and how this all happened. My girlfriend at the time, fiance now.
Yeah.
She
Don't forget.
I know, I got to get used to it. It's only been
she's
about
from the fiance region of France. She's not a fiance.
Exactly. She went off to go to school in Portland, Maine. And so we were going to do we already done 3 years of long distance. We were going to do another year and a half. And I thought, my friend Forrest was like, you got to try YouTube and TikTok. Like you got to find a way to make more money and just like get set up. And I thought, I have suddenly got a lot of free time with no one around, no one in the house, that I'm going to try to do this thing where I built the motorcycle. Let's talk about it a bit. And I did YouTube for about a year.
Okay.
And it felt just like that, where I'd do a video and it'd get 700 views. And it'd be something like how to buy a bike on Craigslist. And you're like, you couldn't find more than 700 people.
Right.
I'm not saying have them watch to the end.
Totally.
I'm not saying you couldn't find 700, like 1,000 people to click on the video. You couldn't find 2,000 people to click on the video. And of course, I look
because
back,
popularity begets popularity on social media.
yeah, I mean, it's YouTube. The YouTube problem is that it's like shopping for a magazine where you can see the covers and you don't have to open them. Versus TikTok, it's force fed. So you could have the greatest hook on YouTube ever, but if no one ever clicks the video, they don't see the hook.
Doesn't matter.
So it's all thumbnail. And so I was just getting frustrated, and I was just like, okay, this is just a war of attrition. I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep posting. And one day, after about a year, I had this just idea stuck in my head that was about the reserve tank. That someone brought up how, there isn't really, or they brought up, how does the reserve tank work? And I was like, well, there isn't actually a separate tank. It's just two different height straws in the tank of the motorcycle. Usually, there's like very few obscure bikes that actually have a separate tank. Most don't. They're just two straws.
Right.
And obviously, this is carbureted bikes. And I thought, man, I'd love to make a video on this, but I just can't figure out a way to do it for YouTube. I kept trying to think of some long form, like 5 things that you misunderstand, but that was too negative, or just trying to find a way to make it a 5 to 10 minute
But that's
video.
a catchy thing that people do. Like 10 things I hate about this $20,000 motorcycle.
You gotta love a list. I still use lists all the time.
Clickbait, man.
Yep. But I was just like, I just want to say this tip. And so I downloaded TikTok. I had downloaded it before, posted a couple videos, deleted it, whatever. And I downloaded it and I made this video where I was like, hey, your reserve tank is actually just 2 straws. Did 250,000 views in a week.
Wow.
That was gamified. Like, I didn't deserve that many views, but that was TikTok immediately hooking me like a drug. And so from there on out, I was like, okay, hold on. Like, maybe there's a space for small insights, digestible tips and insights and features. And I mean, now I've found there is TikTokers who do that. I'm not the only one
for sure
who do that educational, face in front of the camera style content. There was, with all due respect to those people, they're fantastic at it, and I look at them as inspiration now. I had no idea they existed. There was really no inspiration other than just being fed up with kind of YouTube, which I do need to get back into. I've got my ideas there, but I just was like, I just want to create this piece and try something out. I got hooked immediately, and I thought, this is an interesting angle as an industrial designer, someone who I'd like to say understands products better than maybe the average Joe, and someone who's actually built a bike. Maybe I have some interesting insights on motorcycles.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about, why is it hard to find neutral? Well, I've built a transmission, so maybe I have some insights there. Or how to make your motorcycle faster. Well, I've taken one completely apart and made mine faster and can give those insights. And so I thought I had an interesting angle, and I still think I do in some ways. But overall, that's how I got on the platform, was just simply having an idea and gamifying it, like you're saying, where Instagram and Facebook, they're throttling you down because they're trying to get you to hit that promote button.
Totally. They want you to spend money.
Yep, exactly.
Absolutely.
Versus TikTok is paying for you to post.
Right.
Now that's an incentive.
And it's fascinating because, we see people, obviously, as content creators, you want to be on as many platforms as possible so that people can see you. Because once you get to a point where you have let's say 1 million followers on TikTok, you could probably start feeding Instagram your TikTok videos.
Yeah, people will see your face.
Totally. And they'll know what's going on with it. And we kind of chuckle at work and go, it's funny. All the videos that are interesting are actually TikTok videos that you just copy paste into Instagram. It's not an Instagram video that's gone to TikTok. It's not equal that way. And so, Ryan is a younger guy who is the perfect person. I'm 45. And it's funny. I remember, like, when I was a teenager and was learning my way through computers, my elders were like, whoa, this guy's so brave. He just presses buttons.
Yep.
And it was like, yeah, you just press buttons. It's not going to blow up on you. Just fucking do things. Like, there's no wrong answer. If the wrong answer, you just Control Z. Like, undo.
Yeah.
And so, we find ourselves getting comfortable and getting busy and doing stuff that requires a lot of our brain power. And so, I'm part of a large automotive group. That's who owns Moto Corsa.
Yeah.
So like we're our own weird little island. And so part of being a GM of Moto Corsa is I have to go to these horribly boring automotive dealership meetings.
Okay.
Like just end me. That being said, I'm like one of the youngest people there at 45.
Okay.
Because these are like 55 to 70-year-old general managers who've been around for a while. And again, they're very busy. And the idea of social media or digital marketing is a little bit beyond them in that they're not comfortable with it. That simply is what it's at. There is discomfort with using it. And so they just go, nope, not for me. And so then these large automotive, dealership conglomerates are forced to then have like a marketing team, which is typically comprised of younger people who understand the segue between this older, more conservative brain power and what needs to actually happen.
Yeah.
Which I watch these boys and girls just scratching their heads like, God damn it, just let me do the thing. And so for me, because I'm just this one person, I'm like, no, here's the trick. You hire someone younger than you that is not fed up with same old, and just goes, hey, I have some fresh ideas. And then you give them that sort of artistic freedom and creative freedom to go do the thing while still pooping them from time to time to go, hey, don't forget the general mission, right?
Yeah.
I don't care what your mission is, whether it's to sell detergent or the motorcycles or cars or simply get followers so that you can modify your content so that you can have Insta360 go here. You're now one of our people or this helmet company. And
so that's the crazy thing I realized about Fort9. I mean, obviously top tier, if not number one best motorcycle YouTube channel, at least in my opinion, is Ryan F9 Fort9 is pretty much the Revzilla of Canada. Pretty much gave that guy a YouTube channel and with like no followers, he built that up himself, but just said, do a YouTube thing, keep the name Fort9 at the top, and in the description, have a link to our page or something.
That's it.
And he's just built it himself. Like that's the most like
Have you met that guy?
No, I haven't.
So I had an opportunity to meet him. Oh boy, our sounds have changed a lot. What's going on, little buddy? We're so
yelling?
Yeah, I'm yelling. You're not yelling. Oh, you know what it is? My mic's in my mouth, and your mic is far away from your mouth.
Got it.
This is the magic of this kind of showbiz.
Yep.
Is that you get a little bit of what I would call technical difficulties. Anyways, so for Ryan, I got to meet Ryan in Italy in July. And first of all, he's way taller than you think he is. He's your height. He's a big boy.
Okay, I'm 6 foot.
I think you're more than 6 foot. Well, how tall are you?
I might be like. I mean, I'm like.
Ryan's like 6'3", 6'4". He's a big boy.
No,
like I tell everybody I'm 5'9". I'm like somewhere around 6 feet tall. And
wait, you tell people you're 5'9",
yeah,
you're 6 foot?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Why?
It's a reverse power play. It's super fun.
Okay.
To watch people's heads explode is my favorite thing ever because it's usually guys that are like, but you are. How
the person who's actually fighting for their life at 5'9", who's 5'8.5", and you say that, really you're ruining some days there.
Dude, no, honestly, the ones I'm ruining are the ones that are 6 foot tall, and they're like my height, and they're like, wait, so am I not 6 feet tall? No, I'm 5'9", bro. You're definitely my height. It's
I see what you're doing.
It started as a joke. It truly, honestly started as a joke, and now it is like downright hilarious.
Got it. I went to the doctor's office a year ago. And the medical staff had it out for me because they decided to hurt my feelings and say that I was 5'11 and 7/8.
5'11 and 7/8.
Round up. Come on.
Dude, come on, man.
So on a good day, I'm 6 foot. With shoes, I'm 6'1" or 6'2", something like that.
Yeah,
if I put my lifts in.
I think
I'm
on
6'3".
a good day, I'm about 6 with shoes. I'm like 6'1"ish.
6'3" with heels.
I'm 185 centimeters tall. Which is
185, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so then, you must be, because I think 1.80 m is like nearly 6 foot.
Yep.
Because I've heard the Europeans are like, you guys get such a cooler term for being 6 foot. Because over there, you're 1.80 m. Here, 6 foot. We go down to the singular, not 6 feet, we're 6 foot.
That's amazing. Yeah, no. So anyways, I'm 5'9".
Yeah. We were going somewhere with, Ryan's a giant. He's apparently,
he's a giant. He's a
6'3".
big dude. And it's funny because like he's got baby face kind of like you.
Yeah.
And like, he's not.
We're probably similar. I'm 28. I think he's early 30s.
I think he's early 30s, but like he's got 15-year-old face.
Okay.
And he's super nice. He's super. And listen, Ryan, if you ever listen to this, because we're friends now.
Shout out, Ryan.
I used to watch his videos and be like, I want to punch that guy in the face.
What? What point?
I don't know why. It's because he comes across as smug once in a while, and I'm like,
that scares me because that feels like my content's like that a lot.
It's not. So and here's the thing. That's Ryan's shtick. That's just who he is. He's got this like Canadian, almost like English sense of humor that's like super dry.
Yes.
And clearly, according to his following, which is quite vast, he's very good at it.
Yeah.
But like, I remember watching one of his videos. It was his KTM 1290 Adventure R video.
Okay.
And like, the way he talks, his intonation and his tone, I was just like off.
He's got a smirk behind everything. He's
everything.
He's got
And I don't know why I took it personally. Like, there was no reason for that. There was no reason
Yeah.
for me to be like, fuck this guy. I don't know him.
Yeah.
And so, and that's the thing. No matter what you do, chances are I guarantee you, I have people that watch me and go, fuck. In fact, we had it. Somebody made a comment on one of our videos. They were like, what did he say? Cringe.
Yeah.
Your shit's cringe. And I was like,
oh, I mean, of course.
oh,
that,
we're going to
like,
get cringeworthy now, motherfucker. You're calling me out like that. So
Yeah.
no matter what you do, someone's going to be like, ugh, what a piece of shit. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Here's the rule. Here's the rule for content creation for dealing with negative comments, because I'll say overall, the community has been fantastic. It really has been great. I think that when videos go really big, the algorithm starts trying to find people who aren't your normal audience to show you or to show
Yeah, that's fair.
them show them your face.
Right.
And so for you to have, especially from an educational standpoint, I border on the line of telling people what to do, right?
Totally.
Where it's like, who is this guy? The rule is, for me, every video I make, I expect, or I plan for 1 million views, simply because I go, if 1 million people saw this, am I going to be like, ooh, I didn't like this video?
Right.
And so everything I make, I try to go, okay, can I die on every hill of this topic? Or the second thing is, if you're going to do something controversial,
Right.
you have to just know what you're doing. Just accept that you're doing something controversial. Don't
Totally.
be sad.
Nope. Own it.
Like the two examples for hill I'll die on. AirTags suck for motorcycle security.
I agree.
I've gotten
100%.
That's one of my highest.
My phone lets me know whether there's
Thank
an
you.
AirTag around.
Thank you.
Dude, it lets you know.
That video did like 5 million views or something like that. Not one comment brought me down, because everyone's like, oh, well, you can pull out the speaker. I know you can pull out the speaker, but guess
shit,
what?
Sherlock.
It's still on the phone.
Yeah.
The other one was, well, criminals don't keep iPhones. You're like, what are we doing? I got about 1,000 of those
Stop
comments.
it. Where are we gatekeeping
So, like-
criminals from what kind of phone they can have?
So, like-
they don't give a fuck what you think.
I didn't lose an hour of sleep on that video, because there's
amazing.
so much people who had a lot to say about AirTags, and I'm going to get back into YouTube. I want to do some long form stuff. First video is going to be about all the AirTags versus other security
Dude,
systems.
that's amazing.
So if you want to hear more about that, I'll have more to say about that on later. But just for now, I don't love AirTags. It's better than
don't love
nothing.
AirTags.
It's better than nothing. I'll always say that.
Fair,
Because
fair.
if anyone says, oh, well, it's better than nothing, of course.
Doy.
Option 1, get an AirTag. But if you think it's GPS,
For 25
you're
bucks a
wrong.
tag, fine.
If you think it's hidden, you're wrong.
Nope.
The video that I knew was controversial that went big was, I said, matte black helmets is the worst color, and if I could control it, I'd make them illegal. And that one, like,
Ooh, that's a good strong one.
like that was a hot
All right,
take.
give us the short version.
Oh, I'd love to. Okay, first off, they're the ugliest color you could ever imagine.
Yep.
It's primer gray on steroids. It's matte black. Look, I get wanting gloss black, or not liking gloss black, because we had, if you look at the manufacturing of,
Isn't it funny? Matte black looks tough. Gloss black looks nerdy.
I feel like it used to, because everything was made in gloss black, because when you look at manufacturing of plastics like injection molding, black is the cheapest color and it's the easiest to make. If you add color to plastics, it really starts to, you got to modify carbon content.
Are
and
you
all
telling me
this
the
BS.
cheapest color, they marketed it to make it the coolest color somehow?
Well, gloss black for injection molded plastics, gloss, absolutely. And also then you didn't have to do like a post mold casting application of texture to get matte colors.
Okay.
So specifically black and specifically gloss is if you ever look at a car and you go, it's shiny, but why does it look cheap?
Yeah.
It's probably covered in matte or in gloss black plastic.
Ah.
So I get why we pulled away from gloss black and moved to matte black. We got to come back. At this point, the helmets are pretty enough. They look nice. They
Yep.
look good. Matte black, it looks like primer, because people think they're buying the matte black Mercedes.
Yeah, like that satin black.
They're buying a clunker that's been covered in house paint, matte black. I don't like the color. Secondly is the safety thing, which that's a hill I could be like, man, okay, give or take.
Yep.
But it is the highest part on your motorcycle riding body.
Yeah.
You might as well maybe not make it matte
Imagine
black.
you're driving your Ford Explorer,
Yep.
I don't know, a Hyundai, whatever the fuck SUV rental car you drive. And at that height, when
Yep.
you look outside of your driver or passenger window, now think you're riding your motorcycle next to one of these, grocery getters. What are they seeing? What part
Yeah.
are they? They're seeing you essentially from like your upper arm up.
Your bust.
So your shoulder,
chest
your
and
butt,
up.
exactly, your bust. Perfect way of saying it. So chest, shoulders, helmet.
Yep.
If you're wearing shit that can't be seen, It doesn't mean go buy a fucking highlighter
Yeah,
yellow
you don't
helmet.
need high vis. I
get
hate
it.
high vis personally. It's not for me.
It's it's a let's call it a personal choice.
Yeah.
But like,
But
it's
gloss.
funny. It's funny. We get people a lot in our shop in the motorcycle retail industry. We get a lot of people that are like, well, my bike is red. I want to get something that matches that. Like, bro,
Yep.
that helmet is good for 5 years. I know how fickle you are. You're probably going to go 3 motorcycles between this happens. Are you going to
Yep.
buy only red motorcycles?
Yeah.
Or are you going to buy only matte black motorcycles? And probably some smart Alex like, yeah, that's my favorite color.
Yeah. I'm team white. I like a gloss
White,
white.
really?
helmet because it's easy to be seen. It works. I don't know. I've always liked the white helmets. Maybe it's a stormtrooper vibe. White helmet, mirrored visor, can't go wrong. Right now, I will say I have a gloss black helmet,
Okay.
which I'd rather not, but it's carbon fiber.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so-
mine too. I don't know if you saw it. It's got like pink stickers on it. but-
So you're kind of like, for the technology, I went black.
Yeah.
But now you've got like some like red inlay carbon fiber, some other things, or just painted. Like 509 has done this like helmet with this white paint over the carbon fiber. It added probably a gram of paint. Fine.
Yeah.
So I've got a black helmet right now. It's still gloss, but anyways,
I know
that's
a guy
my hot
who
take.
can. I know a
for
guy that
Matt.
can make it not white, not black for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Same guy that made my motorcycle pink downstairs. I don't know why he did that to me.
I know we got to get one wrapped. I got to wrap a helmet at some point, but
It's kind of fun. I think in the US, I've always said this, like motorcycling is essentially like one of the most expensive accessories most US buyers will buy.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're not Europe, we're not Asia, and we don't use it as like this only mode of transport, right?
Yep.
We're very privileged in that we typically look at motorcycles as a toy, which probably explains why the average American rider puts like 2,000 plus miles per year on their motorcycle.
Yeah.
It pains me to say that. Like, you paid so much money for this thing. Go enjoy it.
I feel guilty. I'm at about 4,000 a summer because I'm a fair weather rider.
I mean, you're double the average American right now, dude, and that's just in the summer. So I have a couple of bikes, and I tend to kind of spread it out. But I'm about a 10,000 mile a year kind of guy. It used to be on one bike, and now I have the privilege of saying I have more than one, so I just kind of spread it out between them. I don't know if you noticed, we have a car. It's
really?
hers. Yeah.
Okay, was it which one? The Porsche?
Yeah, it's old diesel. It's old diesel pig.
It's a diesel.
It's a diesel pig.
It's a Macan.
No, it's a Cayenne.
It is a Cayenne.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Porsche made the diesel Cayenne for a short while, and it's. I wanted the Porsche instead of the Volkswagen version because Porsche goes out of their way to just over-engineer the shit out of the interior of those cars.
I love
and
it.
it's just that car's 11 years old with 89,000 miles on it. You won't hear a rattle in there.
It's amazing.
Oh God, it's magical in there. So I got super lucky. That car, there's not a whole lot of them for sale usually because there are not a whole lot of them that were made. I bought it for $26,000 and it had like 68,000 miles on it when I bought it. And so it was like, had I bought the Volkswagen version, the Touareg, it would have been like probably like $8,000 less. But I've driven the the Volkswagen Touareg version. They rattled. It's the same car. It's the same chassis.
You're buying it for those. My mom has a Macan S. You're buying it for the interior because otherwise, go get an Audi SQ5, an Audi Q5.
Totally.
The engine is fantastic. I've never had something from a dig pull harder, but it's the interior. You are constantly reminded that you're in a Porsche.
So nice. I mean, an 11-year-old car with 90,000 miles on it you get in there and it just feels and smells and is just a nice vehicle.
Yeah.
So that's why we bought it. I wanted it because I wanted something that got decent fuel mileage and could tow my trailer without putting up a fight. So this little thing gets 30 miles a gallon at 90 miles an hour and it can tow 7,700 plus pounds.
Yeah, geez.
Like it's no one's business. So
Yeah.
my trailer is like 1,800 pounds and I put 2 motorcycles in there. I'm barely tickling this thing's halfway capacity.
Yeah.
And like when we go to the track day to like the ridge north of here, I probably shouldn't be doing 80 miles an hour with a trailer on the back, but I do. And it's still getting like 22 miles a gallon.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love you, car. You're great. Also, little secret. If you have the privilege to be able to buy a Porsche vehicle, insurance is dirt cheap on them.
Is it really?
Dude, it's been...
I almost was about to be surprised because for the SUVs, the depreciation is
super steep.
it's crazy.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
a cliff.
that car brand new starts at 100 grand.
It's crazy. So I was like, maybe people aren't buying it for the insurance.
So here's the thing. God, we're going way off motorcycles here, but I learned I'm half Persian, half Armenian. I have an affinity for German cars. I don't know why. It's in my blood. I have no choice. I need a Mercedes. Everybody that knows me knows I want like an 80s Mercedes long wheelbase car real bad.
Yeah.
I love them. Mercedes and BMWs, I had an M3. They're a little more expensive to insure. In fact, Mercedes is one of the most expensive cars to insure because pound for pound, they cost a lot of money to fix.
Okay.
And more of them are sold, so more of them get damaged, and insurance companies look at stuff like that kind of statistic. Same with BMW. Porsches are not sold to everyone. Not everybody buys a Porsche, and everybody that buys a Porsche doesn't go and drive the piss out of them, and they don't go beating them up, typically speaking. So to kind of give you an idea, for a hot minute, I had a 996 Turbo, and that car cost me full insurance, $250 deductible. Like, you could light a match under this car. It would cost me $250, $67 a month to cover.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this little guy, I had a Tacoma that was pretty well built, and that Tacoma cost me like $115, $120 a month to cover for that same full coverage.
Yeah.
This Porsche is like $80 a month.
That's why it's like so expensive to insure like a Subaru WRX. Then it's
because
cheap to replace, but everyone who buys one is
everyone's
going to need a replacement.
destroy one at some point. Yeah, exactly. So your typical cars that you can buy a bunch of are more, because insurance companies have more data on them.
Yeah.
The same thing was with motorcycle sales. So I'm going to bring it back to two wheels here. I have educated so many of our buyers. They're like, well, I'm going to look at a ZX10RR instead of this Panigale because it costs a lot less. Neat. Go insure that thing. Go,
really?
Please go call insurance company and see how much it is to cover your leader, your Japanese or your popular branded leader bikes versus an Italian bike that there's not a ton of out there.
Huh.
Yeah. So again, for my age group, my Street Fighter V4S, the way it's built, it's a lot of fucking, I don't even want to say how much compared to like I don't know.
What's the MSRP on that?
27 and change.
Okay.
So let's call it a $27,000 motorcycle. Yep. Costs me like $38 a month to cover.
$38 a month.
Yeah.
I'm paying, oh my God, I'm paying like $50 for my CB750.
Which isn't bad, honestly.
It's not bad. It's covered for through Progressive.
Mm-hmm.
I told them their big thing for motorcycles is like, we'll cover all the custom parts and everything. Like they're big on trying to be a part of the motorcycle.
Yeah, they'll
community.
do like $3,000 up front, and then you can add more to it for a little bit extra.
It's covered for $20,000.
Great,
because that's how much I have into it.
Great.
They didn't ask for a single receipt. I stacked them all up, calculated up, and was ready. And they were like, nope, you're good. 20,000, cool. It's covered. $48.
That's fantastic.
$47. But still,
so with mine, it's the same thing because mine's got magnesium wheels and carbon fiber everywhere. It's Italian chrome all over this thing, right? And then I've got the exhaust and blah, 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 blah. And so like that shit adds up. So then I have to tell the insurance company, hey, I've got like $15,000 worth of extras on this bike. Yeah. And so like, then they're like, okay, well, you're at like $38 a month. I'm like, God damn it. Okay.
I figured they see Ducati and it'd be like seeing, M3. It would just be like,
the first time that happened to me in Ducati ownership was the Desert X. When the Desert X, my little like dual adventure bike that I have down there, when that came out, I called insurance and I was like, hey, I'm picking up a Desert X. They're like, cool. It's $98 a month. I'm like, what?
Whoa.
And they're like, yeah. I'm like, no, there's a mistake. They're like, well, how much did it? And I told them like, hey, you guys, I have a bike that's worth double this thing's value.
Right.
And you guys are charging me like.
You don't want to tell on yourself, but also.
Right. And I'm like, you guys are charging me a third of that. They're like, no, there's got to be something going on. Like, is it more expensive to fix? Nope. Is it more expensive? Nope. Everything they ask, I'm like, no, the answer is no. They're like, we don't know what's going on. So they're having to reassess why that bike costs so much more.
Yeah.
For me, with a super clean driving record, again, I'm 45 years old, so different, age bracket altogether.
Especially considering they're just not going to cover off-road shit.
They're not.
They're like, so just even because I was like, well, maybe it's because you're constantly like minor crashing that thing, but they're just gonna. That's not.
But the bike
count.
was brand new when I bought it. There was like I was like one of the first 10 people to got one, so it was like new to the market. So there was no data, and it was funny because like, Ann's Monster down there, same engine.
Mm-hmm.
Cost wise, it's more or less the same, and it costs like half as much to insure. So there was a weird spike on the Desert X, and I couldn't quite figure out what was up with that one. And so I started calling different insurance companies just because I like to give my insurance company a run for their money every couple of years and shop them.
Yeah, of course.
And for me, I'm with State Farm. I've been pretty lucky. I've heard horror stories from every different insurance brand out there. So I've been lucky with State Farm. I've been with them for, 20 years now. And so they kind of do a full overall coverage of this and that and the other in the house and everything. And so I've been lucky, but at our shop, I make phone calls for people regularly just to either educate myself or educate them of, cool, you're looking at a X brand leader bike. That's how much it costs. It costs $3,000 a year to insure it versus like ours. It costs hundreds of dollars a year to insure it. Yeah. Well, that now makes a difference in your budget, right? If you're a monthly budget person and you're like, I can only afford, say, $400 a month to have a full experience of the motorcycle, Well, now if you're paying $150 a month just in insurance,
Yeah.
you're going to have to make a choice. And sometimes it evens the playing field a little bit, because if your motorcycle costs this much and your other motorcycle costs this much, but the insurance is topsy-turvied on them,
Yeah.
and it makes it where for $400 a month you can have the bike of your dreams, or something that you thought was unobtainium versus something that you think you have to quote unquote settle on, then now is that's something to do. So I always tell people, hey, if you're buying a car, a motorcycle, a house, make sure you're looking at the full picture.
Yeah.
Don't get so carried away and emotional about, well, it costs only this much. Oh, yes, but also, how much will the overall ownership experience cost you?
What do you think would happen to insurance prices if they legalized lane splitting in Oregon?
I think
Take a
that
breath.
I know it's because it's
The
my
concept.
dream.
I know.
It happens.
I was stuck in traffic today, and I was like, if only one, I was on a motorcycle and didn't bring a car, and two, it had legalized lane splitting.
I will wrap myself out right now, and I lane split pretty regularly on my motorcycles. And the problem with my motorcycles is that they're not inconspicuous. Everybody knows what the fuck those things are.
Yeah.
There's a guy riding a pink motorcycle. There's
One
one
of
dude
one.
around here.
Yeah, you're cooked.
So yeah, I'm cooked. So I think that is a very good question, and I think that it's going to be a multi-step answer, in that I think the first year or so, there might be some whoopsies.
Whoopsies on people?
Yeah, in general.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Because if you're going to suddenly
We're talking what would happen to the state of Oregon, to the world, if we legalized it. Okay.
Yeah, if we legalize it tomorrow,
Yep.
lane splitting, lane sharing, however they want to name it to make it palatable for voters,
Sure.
there has to be, I hope, there has to be education, generally speaking, for the masses in their cars to go, okay, when I'm sitting in my lane stuck in traffic, there's going to be someone on two wheels that's going to buzz past me,
Yeah.
hopefully at a sane pace. It's not some idiot that's going...
That's the problem, right?
And I think there has to be education on all sides. We as human beings are stupid and lazy. And so how do we spend, I think as a state, I think there has to be money and resources spent on educating drivers and riders to say, hey, rider, don't be an idiot. Hey, driver, don't be an idiot. How do we define not being an idiot for both those segments is going to be different, and it's going to vary, in that when you're in your car, it's really easy to be in this cocoon and have music and your podcast and your whatever's going on, your thoughts and your singing and your fighting or whatever's going on. Yeah, suddenly you get terrified by this noise.
Yep.
It's so funny. My Street Fighter, if I do share the lane, I make it a point.
Share the lane with 100 cars.
With 100 cars.
Yep.
I make it a point to do it at a very slow and approachable pace.
Yes.
So if it's stopped, I'm going 5 miles an hour just to get past them, to get to the front of the red light. Because my Street Fighter, while cute and pink, sounds like it wants to pick a fight with you.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just it is yelling at you. It is cursing at you, and it's doing it in a foreign language that you don't understand. Whereas my Desert X is real cute. It looks like a minion with its little round headlights. And I've literally had people give me a thumbs up on that bike because they think it's adorable and it's weird and it's classic looking, just like your Honda.
Yep.
People see it and go, neat.
Yeah.
My Street Fighter, since it's turned pink, it's a little friendlier, and kidlets, oh my God, little kids love my bikes. It makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Little tykes, little 3-4 year olds are like, ah, and they run towards it, and they're just I'm like, okay, don't burn yourself.
All of this is hot. Yeah, exactly.
Please, no
Don't
touchy.
touch any of this.
But I love that a lot, and it's super duper cute. So recently, my bike's been friendlier because you could see people want to yell at it, and they're like, but it's pink.
Yeah.
So it can't be that bad.
Yeah.
So I think I feel like if the governing state of whatever state that would hopefully make lane splitting legal, because I hope it happens everywhere, would have to do a really fantastic unified job of educating everybody, the drivers and the riders and the pedestrians and all the people in general, that, hey, this is a thing now. When you come to a halt, there are going to be motorcycles that are going to share your existing lane with you within reason to get in front of you because they take up less space. One car takes up 4 motorcycles worth of space.
They're not cutting you in line.
They're not fucking with you.
They're being removed from the line altogether.
On a shitty rainy day or a shitty super hot day, when you're in the comfort of your car, they're out there doing the thing. And here's the thing. If lane splitting becomes legal, as it is in, say, California, then it incentivizes people to buy a motorcycle, right? Because then we can look at it as a mode of transportation and go, hey, now when you buy that Honda NC700, you can get 80 miles a gallon And when fuel costs $4, $5, $6 a gallon, that starts making economic sense to you, because when you think of your daily commute, which is part of our daily lives as we work away from home, then you can go, hey, now I have an incentive. I can get to work quicker. I can get to work safer and quicker and more economically, and I can park this thing almost anywhere without getting in the way of anybody, and I can lane filter, lane share without disrupting the flow of traffic. And boy, oh boy, in a magical, whimsical world that I have in my head, if more people rode motorcycles and there's less cars on the road, which means maybe probably traffic would cut down a little bit.
I think, don't quote me on this, but I think the statistic I read many years ago.
I'm literally quoting you right now.
Yeah, that's true. Just cut out the part where I said, don't quote me. Exactly. Is I think if 20% of traffic switched to a motorcycle, it would reduce traffic times by 50%. I think those numbers. So it's not like if 10 people get on a motorcycle, traffic's down by 90. It's nothing crazy. And asking Oregonians to be 20% motorcycle is also not possible.
Right.
But come on.
We are seasonal.
Exactly. Or maybe it's like a 5% switch, 20% reduction, but it's pretty good numbers. But it's funny, you bring up California for lane splitting. California as a state is like your friend who tests very well, but also parties harder than anyone.
Fair.
It's the best and worst thing for lane splitters trying to convince our parents, i.e. the state government,
that's right,
to let us do it too.
Totally.
Because they have next to no rules around it.
None.
Their rules are don't break the speed.
It's within reason.
Too hard.
Right.
It's if the state highway speed is, or let's say you're on the highway and it's 65, they can do 80 past you. They're not going to get pulled over. It's pretty crazy, but there's no rules. And so I think people think, oh, well, I'm on Instagram and I've seen people do it, passing stop traffic.
Some dingus on an R1 and clapped out R1 is showing his video of being oh God, I know.
It's like, I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want to be passed like that. And so it becomes the thing where we're like, well, it was almost going to pass in Oregon. Or I say almost going to pass. It almost passed my dreams.
Did we? We got so close.
I feel like we did. I could feel it in the air where it was like, you can only go 10 miles an hour faster than the speed of traffic.
Right.
And you can only do it if the traffic is doing less than 10 miles an hour.
Yeah. And it was only allowed, I think, on like highways.
And then the speed had to be 55 on the highway.
Right.
So you could do a maximum of 20 miles an hour if they stopped traffic or the traffic was doing 10 miles an hour.
Right.
And you're like, cool, that's the way to do it. Like, I mean, I learned how to ride in Oregon. I love lane splitting the unregulated way, but that's never going to happen in Oregon or in many states.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the idea of like, well, it's not saying that it's the purge for motorcycles. It's not like, it's like if the speed is 50 miles an hour on the highway, but it's a blizzard, you're going to get pulled over for doing 50.
Yeah, no shit.
Because it's just it's not what the streets needed at the time. It was not within context. And that's what we need for lane splitting is contextual lane splitting. Let us do it and not scare you.
Right.
Of course, if we're just going and we're just doing burnouts and passing people and
will there be people that do that? Yes. Are there people in cars that break the speed limit?
Yeah.
Every day.
And both of those, well, I mean, speed limit on cars, I drive a little fast. But like if you're doing the insane lane splitting, you should at least expect someone's gonna try to pull you over.
Someone's gonna fuck with you because you're being an idiot.
Lights are gonna come on.
So here's the thing. We always say this in retail to remind fellow retailers to behave, in that if you do a shit job, people are going to tell everyone they know that you did a shit job, right? If you as a retailer treat somebody badly, they're going to tell everybody they know that they got treated really horribly at XYZ retail. If you do a really good job of it, people hold on to that near and dear to their hearts.
It's the standard.
They want to just tell their friends and like the closest people to them because they think only those people deserve to hear about it. And I feel like the similar situation is in road behavior. So people go and say, wow, motorcyclists are a bunch of hooligans, because a handful of motorcycle hooligans, which they exist.
Absolutely.
Yours truly was one of them.
Exactly.
Still is kind of.
Yeah, raise my hand too.
Right. So those people end up being the example of dangerous, unruly, not friendly, not approachable, et cetera, whereas the majority are behaving and they're just simply trying to get from point A to point B.
I'm on a vintage air-cooled bike.
Right.
I gotta move.
It doesn't.
I can't sit on the highway.
It doesn't bode well for it to sit in 80 to 100 degree air weather sitting in traffic. It'll overheat. It's not good for it.
Yep.
So it's interesting. I want it to happen because selfishly, being a motorcycle retailer, in my head, even though we sell like an upper crust brand, I think it'll still affect us in that there will now be an incentive. There is now going to be a reason for you to hop on a motorcycle instead of your car, take up less space, take up less fuel, and get to the place that you want to get to quicker. And, you know, then the people that go, well, I only want to ride fair weather and it's raining, I don't want to ride, might think, well, if I get that Gore-Tex suit,
Yep.
now I'm not getting wet, now I'm not getting cold, and I can still beat the traffic to get to whatever my destination is. So I learned how to ride a motorcycle in California and Los Angeles years and years and decades ago, right? So the idea of lane splitting is nothing new to me.
Yep.
It's so natural to me. It's not even funny. And every time I go and visit family in California and I have the privilege of taking a motorcycle with me, I instantly get back into the way things are. Because it is legal in California, it's been for a long time, the general population knows what's going on. They keep an eye on you. If they see your little headlights bouncing behind them, they tend to kind of part the seas for you a little bit. I have noticed a little bit of that happening here in Oregon.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say...
I was a little bit late going to the shop a couple of days ago, and I took the motorcycle, and it was, you know, I live in Southeast Portland. There is no direct highway for me to get to my shop from here. So there is if I go the long way. It's like almost twice the length. So I did, thinking, fuck it, I'll just lane split on the highway. It's safer for me to do that than to mess with people on the streets, and there's a lot of red lights. Every person got out of my way. Every single, like it was the first time it had happened. No honking, no middle fingers, no shaking heads.
No one kind of tried to pull in to make it a tight gap.
It was just like, I was like, I'm sorry, is this Los Angeles? What's happening right now?
That's what I'm saying. I think we just need to gaslight the general public into thinking it was legalized.
Yeah.
Like if every motorcyclist just starts doing it, we're just like, yeah, the bill's somewhere. Google it later.
All right, here's the thing. We're going to just start it tomorrow.
Just start lane splitting.
Just start everybody do it. Make it normal. Normalize it. Don't be an asshole.
Yep.
Don't be rowdy. If you got a V4 Street Fighter with a loud aero exhaust on there, just be gentle.
Yep.
You know, maybe upshift.
Pull the clutch in.
Just
blip it
gently.
a little. Let people know you're coming.
Don't terrify people. Because I've literally had people roll down their window like, you scared me. I'm so sorry. Good morning.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to scare you. That wasn't my intention. So yeah, I think that it would be good for us. I think to go up to your original question, what would it do to insurance? I don't know. I think it's a complex question, and that made me go into this rabbit hole. In that I think initially there would probably be a little bit of an uptick in some wrecks, maybe. Mm-hmm. I hope not. And that's why I went into I hope that the governing states do a good job of educating everybody of, hey, rider, hey, driver, be aware.
Yeah.
So in theory, just like, you know, in our magical fantasy world, it'll make it a safer, better place for us, where we as motorcyclists are no longer sitting at night in the back of a traffic format pattern, scared that someone's not paying attention and seeing our single tail light is going to run into us, right? So like, that's one of the arguments that we have for it, in that, hey, if we can lane split or lane filter or lane share, whatever you want to call it, it'll put us in a safer place where we're in your direct point of visibility, where you can see me wearing my white helmet and my, you know, more visible jacket right next to you as opposed to behind you.
Yeah. So would you agree with the theory, because I think this is mine, that we will see more, let's call them fender benders, which is actually not the fenders, is what we're avoiding,
right?
But, you know, people dinging, you know, side view mirrors, little tiny bumps and whatever, but less deaths.
Yeah, probably.
Like that's where I think
I would rather there be an uptick in mirror dents than hurt people. Never mind deaths, just hurt people, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're driving a fucking smart car that's tiny and scary looking, it is still safer than your most...
Still a cage.
Yeah, it's still a cage. It's still safer than whatever air... Like, I don't leave my house without an airbag vest. I have that on all the time.
I got to get one.
I will hook you up, dude.
What do you use for... which?
So I became... Honestly, the two major brands are Dainese and Alpine Stars, and they both have extremely different approaches to it. And I hope you can geek out and really nerd out on what they are. They're super neat. So Alpine Stars is essentially a bag.
Okay.
Whereas Dainese's is like this weird filament that fills up. And if you cut it open and look at it, it looks like Spider-Man's webbing. It's fascinating.
Does it, and it fills with that?
So it's already in there and it fills up. And I don't know what kind of molecular shit they got going in there, but it's suddenly you have like this shell all around you.
Interesting.
It's super interesting. So Alpine Stars wears like a t-shirt. It comes down to about your like tricep bicep area. And so in theory, because the bag covers that area, you now have like an airbag over your deltoids. And so it protects like the area around your clavicle a little bit better in theory. I like the way it fits like a t-shirt more, and the fact that even if it doesn't work for some reason, it still has a full hard back cover on there.
Okay.
So full spine cover, like protection on there.
Does it
So-
also have airbagginess on the back?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a full airbag t-shirt.
Yeah.
But it still has a it's one of the most like comprehensive spine protectors I've ever seen.
Cool.
To the point where we as a track day organization allow people to wear that thing, because it's even if it never ever inflates, that back protector is really substantial.
Okay.
So that's why I bought one. I like Dainase's as well because you can wear it on the outside. So if you've got your favorite jacket that doesn't have enough room, you don't have to completely change your wardrobe and spend hundreds or thousands of dollars in changing your jackets to make it work with the internal airbag. So you can wear it on the outside. It's water resistant. You can get a high-vis one. Like if you're military and you're forced to wear a high-vis jacket when you ride a motorcycle, just get that one of these things. It's also an airbag.
Yeah.
So both of them are doing the same thing from different perspectives and different approaches. Both of them are great ideas.
Yeah.
And both of them are cheaper in every way possible than a trip to the hospital for a broken clavicle or a neck.
Yeah.
Or anything.
I know there's also Helite,
Yep.
which
Helite is attached.
what do you mean?
So
Attached
like
to the bike?
Helite has like a like, you ever ridden a jet ski?
Yes.
You know how they have like that?
Oh yeah, or a treadmill.
Yeah, or a treadmill.
If you're
you
really
come
safe
off of
about
it,
a
it just
treadmill.
stops it right exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So Helite's is sort of like that. In fact, Fortnite did a great job of like, in fact, that was one of the parts that I completely disagree with Ryan. Helite's is simpler in that it doesn't have a full like computer. It doesn't have an IMU, an inertial measurement.
They have both.
So their simple version that they covered anyways is basically just a tether.
Yep.
And if you come off, it inflates and you have that. Whereas these don't necessarily have that, so they're a little more expensive. And in theory, there is more to go wrong with it because it's not as simple.
Yeah, you got to keep it charged and all that. Yeah.
Much like my phone and my earbuds and my GPS unit, there's just it's funny. Every time I go for like a major motorcycle ride, it's like, let's see what kind of electronics I have to charge up first. And it becomes part of my, listen, you're a content creator. You're very, very well.
Oh yeah. Multiple cameras.
Yeah, you know
and
what
the
everything you
Cardo
have to
and
get
all
to
that.
work.
Yep.
Right. So same thing. You just have a checklist. And part of my checklist is every so often I charge up my airbag. Now, they do a great job of having all these different lights on there. When you zip it up, it's like, hey, dude, I'm going to give you a heads up for like many, many hours that you have to charge me. It's not like a sudden thing. The cool thing is they're passive. Like they're active, but they're also kind of passive in that they don't take a whole lot of battery power. So like you can charge up your airbag vest and it's good to go for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. 2 weeks.
A long time.
2 weeks using it every day.
Yep, I use it literally every day for, let's say, about an hour a day, give or take.
Okay.
Hour and a half a
10
day.
to 15 hours. Oh, yeah,
Right.
15,
So
20
if you're
hours of use.
commuting every day, you can just charge, like 2 weeks? Dude,
Yeah.
my phone has to be charged every night.
Essentially, it'd be impossible to go on even the longest ride ever and it die on the ride.
Yep.
It'll overnight, you'll be able to charge it and whatever.
Basically.
Huh. I'm torn between the two because believe it or not, even though I am a content creator and all this stuff and got all the cameras and all this and the Cardo and everything, I really like to keep low electronics on the bike and on me and stuff.
I get it.
So I get the idea of the tether. The problem is you're going to start hoping you high side because you're going to want to eject off the bike because if you low side and you hold onto the bike,
requires like violence.
Yeah, I get that.
So we went to an Alpine Star. I don't know why we got invited to this. It was really not a dealership thing, but like we got invited because we're Moto Corsa. And so my apparel manager, Ali, who is just fucking awesome. I love her so much. And I went to Big Bear to hang out with a bunch of cool people way above my pay grade. And 3 of these people are Dakar racers. These are honest to God Dakar racers.
Yeah, the real deal.
And they are the literal crash test dummies for the new Alpine Stars that is out now, the off-road, Tech Air off-road.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can literally get an airbag system that's a full, like, it has like elbow, it has all the padding on it, even if it doesn't go off, to be a proper certifiable off-road, undergarment to wear. And so these guys were the crash test dummies for it, and they were just wearing like the Tech Air 5 that I wear regularly. And the one thing that they said that stuck out with me was this. Part of the testing that they did was these G-out landings.
Yeah.
So land, and you can hit over a G on the landing to see if this thing will suddenly just go off, and it just wouldn't. And then going like 10, 15 miles an hour, they would sort of high side or hit a rock and come off the bike and poof, it would come apart. And it's like, okay. And so what they were doing throughout all the testing, and what they do even to this day with all the testing, is compile data to say, oh, this is what's happening more, right? Like and you would appreciate that they're looking at percentages of like what kind of wrecks are happening, what kind of speeds are they happening. Does it need to go off at X mile per hour? If the answer is no, then it won't, because then it'll save you $300.
Yep.
Right. So there's a lot of information there. And I appreciate that they do that. This is just simply Alpine Stars doing that, which means Dainese is also doing it, because it's like Apple versus Android. They're constantly trying to outdo each other on it, and they come at it from different perspectives. Which one's the right one? The one you wear.
Yeah.
Honestly, just get one and wear it, and it'll save your ass. We've seen it on the track days. My airbag, my race suit is an airbag suit by Dainese.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many people have their literal hides saved by it, where like you high side a motorcycle and then you see this dude, if he was in a slow-mo, you just see him go poof.
Yeah. Just a slight little 15% expansion
just
on
get
silhouette.
a little bit bigger, right?
Yeah.
And it stops the worst case from happening. Will it stop every bone from breaking? No. Will it stop your neck from breaking? Probably.
Yeah.
Right? Because if it goes up, now it's like regulating your helmet. It's not letting it move around too much.
Yeah, I like that. That's almost my favorite part is, what's that called? What's the system for like race car drivers? This is like just the guy's name.
Oh yeah. Damn it.
I know.
Putting me in the spot.
I know. Now that it's a pop quiz. But
someone's yelling at our podcast right now.
Know. Essentially, it's that thing that it looks like a neck brace that then has little tiny straps that hold the helmet into position. That's like, for the inflatable vest world, the inflatable jacket world, that's like my favorite feature. It's just being able to stabilize the head.
Being able to stabilize the head is such a huge thing. So like, I'm a big believer of MIPS.
Yeah, yeah.
I love the system. I love the idea of it. I have a Bell helmet that's got their own version of it, but it's still the same idea. I think it's so smart. It's just scientifically proving that it could save your life.
Yeah.
Right? We're fragile. We're so fragile. I don't care who you are. You're fragile.
Yep.
If you're going 10 miles an hour and you got momentum behind you and you weigh 200 pounds like I do, shit hurts.
Yeah, falling backwards into the back of your head or something.
Falling any direction, it hurts. So all we're trying to do is educate people to say, wear protection. Because if you wear protection, it'll elongate your ability to do the thing you love doing.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a fair weather rider who only rides 2,000 miles a year. Get that thing.
Yep.
Right? Because it'll allow you to do it every summer as you love doing it. And you don't have to think about it anymore. Are you going to be a little bit warmer? Yep. Are you going to be a little bit like, is it nice to ride a motorcycle in a half helmet with a t-shirt and pair of shorts on? I'm sure it is. I lived in Florida. I get it.
You get the shorts thing? I could never do the,
I feel naked.
I think I'd need jorts. I think the basketball shorts, it would get a little wild.
You know, I'm a person of a certain age right now. If I'm wearing jorts, they have to be a little bit tighter.
Okay. Yeah.
I want them flopping around.
I'd want a stiff jort.
Yeah, exactly.
Stiff, tight jort on a motorcycle once a year. Yeah.
You know, it's making me think. My next tracksuit, I'm gonna have Dainese. They're gonna hang up on me, like to make it look like I'm wearing like jorts.
Yeah,
and like a hoodie.
Oh yeah.
But the rest of it has to be like somehow my skin color.
Yeah.
Ooh, because then I will look like I am free and badass, but I'm not. And then my helmet's and I'm gonna make my helmet look like a half helmet with the rest of my face on the actual thing.
Terrifying.
Oh, terrifying.
Oh my god.
Horrifying. Because it's gonna be like a little bit like the wrong dimensions.
You can't lane split in that. At night, if I see that in the mirror, I'm
hitting you on
yeah,
purpose.
Exactly.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah,
not you, dude.
That's a threat to safety. Yeah.
This dude just
he drew his face on the front of the helmet. Who does that?
That is not a good person, man. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope that this happens. All right, so we've gone through a lot of different avenues here. Let me ask you this. As a content creator, what is your purpose?
Ooh. Full stop. That's the question. What is my purpose?
Yeah, like what do you hope to achieve? Right? Because like it's easy to look at social media and look at it as like a popularity contest. So-and-so's trying to get more views. So-and-so's trying to get more engagement, more likes. But like, why? Like I know as a dealership, mine is for marketing so more people come to my shop and hopefully buy a t-shirt one day.
Yep.
right? Or a motorcycle if I'm lucky. So like for you, and the reason I like your stuff, and the reason I tend to subscribe to specific social media type people is because there's an educational basis to it. But I always ask the question, why? Is it simply to make money? If that's the answer, cool, I can respect that. If it's to like educate people to be better and more aware people, I love that as well. If it's because you are a nerd who likes to geek out on the details and building stuff and be able to answer questions on that, also cool, because in my head, you are potentially creating a whole other level of younger followers that go, I want to tear a motorcycle apart.
Yeah.
Like, how can I make it faster? How can I make it better?
I started from, I wish I could say, oh, I was inspired by the waterfalls and the fountains and wanted to build a community. I started from the perspective of needing money.
Yeah.
I was in a very tight spot where we were barely getting by, we'll put it that way. And it's like we were doing fine. We had a nice townhouse, whatever. I'm not trying to say, a rags to riches story here, but we were in a really tight spot and it was in the middle of COVID. And so this was my Etsy shop. This was I gotta find a way to make more money. And so I would do my 9 to 5 and then eat. And then from 7 to about 1 a.m. would do content.
So you're literally moonlighting.
And and would just run it as a second job because it was that tight. Now I'll say like, the money thing is great. Like now that it's kind of coming around and there's a financial aspect, I love that I'm able to do the things I want. I mean, I'm engaged because of content creation, like there's a lot to it I'm glad to see that content creators are able to be supported financially.
Yeah.
Spaces like TikTok and YouTube are paying as they should, and Meta should be getting on board with paying too. So
I agree.
So I can't sit here and say, oh, if this never paid, I would have never done it. I just love filming my face and hearing myself talk and editing thousands of hours.
A lot of people that aren't aware of what happens there think that that's the case. They think there's a bit of narcissistic behavior of like, dude, how much do you like the sound of your voice? I have yet to meet a single person who actually enjoys that part.
I'm numb to it now.
I am too.
Yep.
People are, wow, dude, you're a ham. You're so comfortable around the camera. Yeah, it's a lot of practice.
Yeah, it's not me anymore. When I'm editing, it's just like I'm hearing my voice. I'm not like, oh, I said that weird. I said whatever. We are editing past Jacob who made a video. Now I'm the editor and whatever. So that at least I do want to cover the money thing and not sound like some fake here.
I mean, there's a reality to it.
Exactly. We got to pay the bills. I got to have a place and a roof over my head and for my partner and all that stuff in my family. So that is important. And I do want to encourage places and people to start, to keep, for big businesses to keep paying. I don't love the whole gifts thing. I don't think the consumer should be paying. I think the billion-dollar corporations should.
Totally.
But what changed was, and far before I even actually made my first dollar, what changed was building the community, or building a version of the community, at least collecting some people from the motorcycle community and starting a thing. Feels incredible. It feels great. I love doing it from a perspective of just having people to talk to. I didn't have anyone who rode a motorcycle as a friend when I started content creation. Huh. And I was the only one. I mean, my family has had bikes. My dad had a motorcycle, but not like the crazy obsessive motorcycle type. It was more the hobbyist, the 2,000 miles a year rider. And I mean, he'd been riding his whole life and everything. He deserves his credit, but it's how he got to high school. It was a dirt bike through the forest, I think, in Montana. Yeah, what
uphill
a life.
Both ways in the snow, barefoot.
Exactly. Yep. But what was I saying? Where were we?
You were talking about the why of it because you're making the money with it.
Oh yeah. So I had no one around to really talk motorcycles as I'd built the whole motorcycle. And now as a small side thing, I will note that I didn't want to start doing content until I had finished the bike because I didn't want to tell people what to do in quotes if I hadn't done it.
So you didn't start it as the building of the bike happened?
I had a light Instagram page with sub 2,000 followers to post the stuff and whatever.
Right.
I had a friend begging me to start a TikTok and I refused because I did not want to tell people what to do if I hadn't done it. And so I kind of call it my resume build, where in the videos where I'm going, hey, here's how to spray paint your bike. I have a spray painted bike in the background.
Right.
Here's how to make your motorcycle faster. I've done it, whatever. Doesn't mean I'm the best at it. Doesn't mean I'm the only person or all that experienced, right? It's one bike. But at least is a little bit of validation or, certification or whatever that I at least know what I'm talking about a little bit. So when I started getting comments from other motorcycle riders, I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like, I mean, still to this day, I respond to probably, let's say, statistically half the comments. Because when videos go viral and there's thousands,
It's hard.
You can't keep up.
It's hard, totally.
But I love talking to the
And
community.
it's so exciting because you want to reach out to every single one of them.
Exactly. Yeah. So it really is just having the community and all that stuff. I mean, I hosted a group ride the middle of the summer and long.
Where'd you guys go?
We started at Station 69. Nice. The fire station in Beaverton, and went to Hag Lake.
Beautiful ride.
Yep. Yeah.
If you're from around here and you haven't done Hag Lake, you're missing out. It's so gorgeous.
But it was great, and we got about 100 people to go to it, which was on.
How did you convince 100 motorcyclists to meet up and ride together?
Well, I have no idea.
That's impressive. Listen, the formula is 100 people say yes,
Right.
and then like 10 days before, 50 people are like, hey, I've got some things happening. And then like 5 days before, another 20 people have another reason. I don't know, their tires are flat or whatever. And then the day of, you get like 20.
It rained the morning of, too.
Amazing.
So it was I don't want to say it was a rain out because it did dry up a bit and everything for us, but it was lightning. It was July 21st. You can look up the weather in Oregon.
Oh, that was a freak rain accident here.
Yep.
It doesn't happen in July.
And it was July 21st.
I call it a rain accident, by the way, as opposed to a rain event.
A rain accident. I like that. And I had some people messaging me and whatever, being like, are you going to cancel? Are you going to say anything? I'm like, I'm not saying a thing. Like the morning of, like, no news is good news. Where people were, I'm not going to be like,
just show up,
guys. It's still happening. Please. No, that's going to fucking kill people off.
That part hasn't changed.
Yep. And so how we got 100 people, I have no idea.
That's so impressive.
But the point being here is that, and I always knew people were real, but it's a good feeling to get 100 people together. Yeah. And man, I at least didn't feel like I was the center of attention there. What I loved was seeing the handshakes, the hugs, people meeting each other. Yeah. Like, so few people showed up with even one other motorcyclist. But by the time we got to Hag Lake, everyone was buddied up. Everyone was talking. And so I'm like, oh, okay, this is it. Like, this is why we're doing content, is like, the education is fun. I do have too many thoughts in my head that need to go somewhere. And so TikTok becomes that platform, and Instagram. But it is also the like, oh, okay, like this, seeing that like clicked a part in my brain that was just like, it's not about me, it's just about having a space for people. And that's where I've always tried to keep my content positive. I try not to, despite how well the hooks can do by being negative or whatever. Totally. I try my best to just keep things pretty positive. I block people if they're being negative. Not to me. You be negative to me, totally fine.
It's fine, whatever.
But it's when someone goes, oh, hey, what's the best beginner bike? And someone goes, you're a loser, or like whatever. Just totally. A useless comment. I'm like,
neat. Yeah, you let your ego answer that question.
Yeah, I'll kill those people off or kick them out just because
he actually kills them off. He sends people off. They're off.
I will find you. User 2347. I will find you.
Shows up to your house and just slaps you.
Hey, be nice. No, but I kick those people off just so it keeps the community just nice and friendly and stuff. And I think, and frankly, I've had to do that very few times. But that's kind of the perspective on, I think I got 100 people to show up because people thought the other people who follow me are probably not jerks.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest group of motorcyclists I have ever been around because we were right next to a neighborhood. And we had to, Fire Station 69 right there on the top of the hill was right across, like neighborhoods everywhere, dog park on the other side. Yeah. And so I said in the little safety briefing before we left and everything, if you want, while we're on the road and we're at a red light, rev the piss out of your bike. I don't care. Like,
not here by the neighborhoods.
But we got to get out of here quietly.
Yeah. Be respectful.
Not one rev.
Pretend like you live here.
Not one rev. Yeah. Not one burnout.
Nice.
Not one whatever.
Nice.
We left so quietly. I was like, okay, these are my people. Like, this is the right place. I went back to the space after to pick up trash. Not a piece of trash.
Wow.
Like 100
awesome.
people.
I love it.
Not one thing. So that community is it. Now, in terms of what is the future, what is my purpose here? I will always do content creation, but my goal is I am an industrial designer, and despite I can convince myself that I'm adding some form of value through videos, not enough, not of what I want. I want to build products that solve problems. Yeah. And so like right now I have an apparel brand I just started called Pillion Outfitters. And it's still just apparel. We're not saving the world here, but it's at least trying to gather a community of people who either own motorcycles and just love pillions or started as a pillion, or don't own a motorcycle, but think of themselves as I'm often a passenger on a motorcycle. That's how my mother was, or is. Her husband, my dad, me, her son, her brother, my uncle, her grandpa, everyone around her owned motorcycles, but she never did. But she's a part of that community.
Yeah.
And so
she's a support system.
Exactly. So she's a pillion. She's a part of that motorcycle space. And I felt like there's a lot of people in the comment section who don't own motorcycles, but were interested in them. So this is kind of a brand for them. That's the next step in solving a problem with a physical product. End goal here is to keep doing content, keep creating an apparel brand that hopefully opens up a space for people who felt not noticed, and then to create the next tire company, the next grips company, the next swapping carbureted bikes to fuel injected bikes. Who knows?
Yeah.
If I knew the answer, I'd be investing in it today. But at the end of the day, I will have a product that solves a problem for the motorcycle community. That is what everything is getting invested in. That's the Pillion Outfitters was invested in via content creation. The next product brand is going to be invested by Pillion Outfitters and by content. And we're just going to keep stair-stepping up until one day, I don't know, I feel like I've actually helped someone.
I think that's the trick is to don't stop. Just keep trying. If you can solve a problem, then you've done a good thing, right?
Yep.
And it doesn't matter whether the problem is like world hunger or simply how to make a motorcycle more efficient or someone safer on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Right? We're not here trying to compare one person doing something versus the other. The idea is like you're trying to solve a problem. One of my favorite things about your content is that you remind me of my childhood of watching like Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Oh yeah.
So
thank you. That's a huge compliment.
You kind of have a Bill Nye the Science Guy approach of like, you're friendly, you're approachable, you're explaining something, you're not like, condescending.
Thank you.
You don't make someone feel like they're an idiot. And that's the smart thing, I think, to do. And I think no one taught you how to do that. That's just your persona. You're very approachable and you're very easy to hang with. I've known you for about 2 hours now.
Nice.
And, it's easy to kind of have that. So I feel like your success will likely depend on your ability to let people feel like they have a safe space around you. And I know that phrase makes some people twitch a little bit, the idea of safe space. But the idea of that is that you as a motorcyclist, whether you're a guy, a girl, a person of color, a minority, or a white person, doesn't matter. You can come to this and go, I've learned something, I've picked up something from it. And then maybe you get to have a chance to pass that on to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? So probably your persona and who you are and what you do and what you believe in is the reason why your 100 people showed up and didn't make a mess. Is the reason why your 100 people showed up and didn't rev their engines and were acting like assholes, right? There's a place for everything. I know people that are racers and they're hardcore and they're naughty and they want to do burnouts and they want to do wheelies everywhere, and there's a place for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
there always should be.
And it serves a specific service.
Yep.
Whereas your specific product, your specific brand, your specific message is approachable and it feels safe and it feels like you can have a conversation with you, whether you have 1 million views or 10 views, and that you will take the time to try and answer that question. And sometimes that the answer to that question isn't going to be done by like you answering literally every single comment that's on there. It might be another video that you do. It might be another podcast that you do that goes, oh yeah, I remember this question was asked a bunch of times. Let me
100%. Yep. I do that all the time.
Right. So I think that's important. I think like even for us, like you immediately reached out to me. You're like, hey, I know that it's going to be a podcast, but like, do you mind if I bring a camera and a light? And you immediately had solutions to a problem I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I didn't think I had to be like, oh yeah, I have to now make my upstairs viable and comfortable for this guy to put a light and a camera in.
No, it's a good space.
Right. It's a fun space. I'm very privileged to have this space. I worked for it, but it's still something that I have, and it's fun to be able to share it. So my hope is that we do more of this.
I agree.
The podcast that we have, this will be episode 105.
105. Okay.
Yeah, we've done a couple.
Yeah.
And it's always about the people, the motorcycles, the life that we live, who we are, and what it is. Why it is we do the things that we do. So that's why we always joke around. It's a podcast about motorcycles, life, the universe, and everything. I grew up reading The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and the life, the universe, and everything is a part of that. And the truth of it is that, and I say this at work all the time without trying to sound too woo-woo, motorcycles, largely are just inanimate objects,
Yep.
right? It doesn't matter whether you ride a 50cc scooter or a $100,000 Ducati V4 Superleggera. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's just a thing that was put together by a bunch of engineers and designers to make you have some kind of an emotional outburst to buy the thing, whether it's a 50cc scooter or the aforementioned Superleggera. The people and what they do with it and where they go with it and the message that they have and the lives that they touch, that's the important part.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the end of the day, your Harley, your Royal Enfield, your Ducati, it doesn't fucking matter. It's just an inanimate object. But that inanimate object, for some reason, has this innate ability to unify us and bring us together. And whether that makes us rowdy people who do wheelies and burnouts in front of neighborhoods or people who are respectful and don't, we're still the same group of people, and we get together and we have these conversations. And I think that is so beautiful. I think that is so cool. And that's what pushes me to keep doing what I do, because at the end of the day, retail sucks.
Okay.
It's hard work.
Yeah, I bet.
Like it, you know, my wife always says this, I'm a super extroverted person and I go out and do everything because I have hardcore FOMO. But about every 2 weeks, I'll go to the basement, put on the PS5 and don't come out for hours and hours and hours. And it feels like a waste of life, but it's like I give so much that it's like I don't care. I just need,
gotta
I feel
recharge
like
the
Wall-E,
batteries.
and I need to recharge the batteries, and I feel like real crummy until I do it. But like this connection and connections like this is what gives me life, and it's so cool. So I'm really grateful to have met you. I'm really grateful to have seen your really pretty motorcycle, and for you to reach out and say that you want to do something like this. It's but just another way of reaching out and just booping the public on the nose and going, hey, be nice to each other.
Yep.
Ride motorcycles, talk to each other, create the space, and make it where other people want to do the same thing. So I appreciate you doing this. I think it's pretty cool.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think there's a reason that I'm on this podcast and not some other one, right? It's the same thing.
Because I let you in, man.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. You had to accept the invite like I was a vampire, of course. But
oh shit, you are a vampire.
It's funny. I felt like I was doing a Craigslist deal. I was like, "Where's the studio?" And you're like, "Oh, it's here." And I was like, "Where's here?"
It's where's my house, bro?
Like,
you know where I live?
Everybody
knows
it's
where I
at my
live.
place. And I was like, he's not going to send it until the hour before, so I can't rob him
I have
the night.
hardcore ADHD, man.
Yeah,
It's not
no.
Like, wait, you don't know where I live? Like, we've known each other for like 2 hours.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But really, it's like I felt like there's going to be the same community in this space, that like this is the right space to talk to. And, I will say there's always room for a hooligan in every group.
God, I hope they always come.
For the 100 motorcycle group ride, we were safer because of the hooligans who signed up to be blockers,
there's always that guy
who would block the intersections, haul ass at 110, on surface streets, get to the front and block the next thing. So for the safe, quiet people to the hooligans and everyone in between, we always somehow seem to work together.
I love it. Yeah, we are all motorcyclists. We all kind of have the same end goal, is to like have this self-expression through what we wear and what we ride and where we go and who we hang with, and whether it's your matte black Harley Davidson or whatever the fuck it is.
Yep.
It's still, by the way, I always make fun of this. Like, motorcyclists are people who want to be like unique, and they buy a motorcycle and they invite like 5 of their closest friends to buy the exact same fucking motorcycle in the same exact color and do the exact same thing as them. Like, I get it. I get it, man. We are all just trying to connect at some level. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm friends with them, but like, I'm not doing this because I think they need you. I don't think they do. That being said, and I'm sure you've done it already, I feel like I could challenge you to be Portland's highest fundraising Distinguished Gentleman's Ride sponsor.
Okay.
I think you could do it. I believe in it a lot. So Mark Hawa and I are buddies, and he started the DGR back in the day.
Yeah.
And he has a really good belief. And again, it's like he believes in something, right?
Yep.
And the whole idea of it being, it's funny. It's like it's men's prostate health, and also equally importantly, it's men's mental health. That part of it means a lot to me. If you ever listen to Braptalk, we talk about it. We talk about health. We try to normalize talking about men's health. We as guys have a tendency of like holding it in and not like putting it out there because there's masculinity and there's like, wow, men don't cry and blah, blah, fuck that.
Suffer in silence types.
Exactly. Yep. So we've tried to change that a lot, and we do it regularly. It's a thing that we have to do as often as possible to, even if it makes one person go, hey, I should go get my shit checked. Mm-hmm. Great, we've done the thing. So what I love about the DGR is that it once a year brings noise to it. And, I've raised money for it, and friends of ours do a great job doing it. And I feel like your ability to bring people together through your very friendly, inclusive manner. I'm curious. I'm curious what you could do for the DGR 2025.
So is it in? Why do I feel like it's in like April?
It's typically like April, May.
April, May, right? Yeah. Okay. So we've got a little while.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this at the very least. When this video comes out, if you find me on Instagram or TikTok and you click my link tree that has a little link, I will have my DGR spot right there. You might have to scroll. I think they
release it a little bit in advance. So like if you go on DGR's website and basically like register to become a fundraiser, they will send you a link and then you can use that and then just send people to that.
So I have that link from last year. I like signed up like last minute, so I think I made $10 or something on it. But if that one still works, if it doesn't work, then we'll have to wait.
They'll give you a new one. But I think I just feel like with your ability to bring people together and have that really fun, approachable face that you have, and like the value and the belief and everything that you are, I feel like you could do something with it.
I will take that challenge.
I think it'd be neat.
Yeah, absolutely.
My buddy Donald in LA, he's the big money bringer.
Okay.
He's a lawyer and he just like, he puts all of his everything into it. And like last year I brought in like $2,800 and they were like, great job. And I was like, fucking Donald did like 20 grand, man.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
all right, we'll see what we can do there. Yeah. I've got some time to think of some content. Cause there's a balance between like starting out the video by saying, just as, fun content, anecdote here, starting out the video by going, hey, we're raising money, versus like, hey, here's 5 ways to be a part of the motorcycle community, and you plug it in the middle and go, bang, got you. You're forced to listen to it. So
nobody wants to be sold on something. Everybody wants to believe like they're doing the right thing.
Yep, absolutely. So I will. I'll have some time to think of some video ideas, and I'll take you up on that challenge. Absolutely.
I like it. Ooh, Mark, you better thank me later for this.
Yeah,
free plug, dude.
We'll see. Hopefully it comes through.
I think you will. I think I'm very excited about. God, I feel like such an old guy when I say shit like this. I love seeing the younger generations do these awesome, cool shit that still makes me excited. Like that's the whole reason I got into motorcycling, because A, I'm a hooligan who loves motorcycles. B, I love the community and bringing everybody together. And as someone that runs a dealership, that's my thing. That's my like cup of tea. Mm-hmm. I get up every day and go, how can I make this a safe, fun space for everybody? Because I sell an exclusive brand, but I'm a very inclusive person. And so those two don't necessarily mix together, but we sure as fuck try every day. Yeah. Right? It's, yes, they're expensive Ducatis, but like also you're welcome to come by and hang out with us. Yeah. Even if you can't afford it yet. Come hang out with us.
Yeah, I mean, I just came by on a 50-year-old Japanese super sport.
And you stole the show, man.
And I stole the show. I got the trophy and everything.
Showed up to a Ducati shop with a Honda, and he took away with 2 trophies. Yep. And here we are doing the podcast together. So yeah, I'm super excited to do more fun shit with you.
Likewise.
I'm really excited to see what else you do, and I'm one of your fans, man. I'm subscribed and I watch everything. So
cool. Thank you very much.
Because I'm too old.
Hey, that's okay. Shit. Don't worry about that. Yeah, it'll show up on Instagram a month later.
Sweet. Do you have any good dad jokes?
Ooh, good dad jokes. Gosh.
It's a tough one.
Let me think. Good dad jokes. I often can't find jokes in a vacuum. I'm trying to think. I don't think so. Do you?
I'm going to my email list, and a lot of times we get some dad jokes on there.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
All right. Oh, have I done this?
I'm gonna drink some whiskey like a dad.
Finally, dude, I've had like 2 glasses full, and you're just like.
Oh, I know. I'm nursing it, I guess here.
Oh, God damn it! This is an old one. Why did the cowboy adopt a dachshund?
Why did the what?
The cowboy adopt a dachshund. I'm sorry, not a dachshund. Yeah, it is a dachshund. Yeah, little wiener dog.
Yeah. Why did the cowboy? Gosh, I can't think. I'm trying.
Somebody told him to get along, little doggy.
Get along, little
doggy.
God
damn it. Anyways, on that note, make good choices. Safety third. You got anything else for us?
I don't. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. Get the fuck out of my house.